Once again, lesbian sex is the key to enlightenment. Howdy hole, and welcome to Hole Chat, a podcast about queer comics and all of their fuckery. I'm your host, Chuck, and with me is someone I'd ruin a man's life for, Keelz.
Aw, thank you, babe.
I would do it for probably less, but for sure, for you, anything. Never mind, we're not going to talk about murder, but I might.
Oh, because you don't want to be convicted? You don't,
I don't
want it to be evidence against you?
I don't want somebody to make a case that I would murder on purpose. I'm just saying if I had to, I might do a murder.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I get you.
It's necessary.
The body's in my backyard.
The backyard we don't have?
Yeah.
Well, today we're going to be talking about Best Served Cold, a manhwa that answers the question, can you finger bang self-esteem into a person?
Ah, Yuri.
We're finally doing girls this time. I'm super stoked about it.
Yeah.
If you like toxic lesbians, that's it the whole way.
Oh, is it?
Oh, it's all toxic lesbians.
I'm half and half on it. I honestly feel like we're flooded with toxic lesbians. Everyone's like, bad girl this, girl boss that. I don't know. I'm just kind of, you know me, I'm slice of life.
Mm-hmm. This one's got variations. The toxicity isn't all, I'm bad girl. The toxicity comes from, like, I'm having problems in my life. Or people didn't serve me well before. So it's a little more complex than just, I've got problems and I, smoke too many cigarettes. And also, I have a motorcycle and I'll probably fuck you and your sister and your mom. It's not that kind of thing. We're doing something, a little
So it's like less daddy issues and more like life treated me hard and this is a reaction.
Yeah, there's a catalyst for the toxicity in a lot of these.
Yeah, I'm more into that because like I just feel like there's quite a few Yuris out there where it's like I'm in high school and I'm just this angry lesbian because of my father, and like again, everyone has their own tastes. That one's just not mine because it's just like I often feel like they paint these type of women as bitches in the comics too, or in the story if it's a book.
I fully understand what you mean. We're not, this is very much not toxicity for toxicity's sake, though those can be fun too. This is something else.
Great.
Yeah,
I'm good with that.
So, Best Served Cold is a manhwa from 2021, written and drawn by Kim Jong-gyun, and hosted on Lezen. This is currently her only long-form Yuri title, so she definitely makes the best of it by turning the toxicity and drama up to 11. This is her foray into something a little more lighthearted and chill than her past works, which is why it focuses entirely on revenge.
Okay, this is chill.
Mm-hmm.
But it's about revenge.
This is what she considers chill. She initially pitched this as a different story, or was about to pitch as a different story to her publisher. And then she said, you know what? Nah, that's too much. I'm going to pitch something else. I'll pitch something a little more chill and, like, relax. And this is what came out.
Are her other stories, do you know, are they more intense?
I would say she loves toxic women. Because the other stories, I think, have even more toxic women and more complicated situations going on. This is, I think, one of her most straightforward works.
Yeah, again, everyone's got that taste.
I will say there's a slight trigger warning for this episode, because cheating plays a major role in this story, so if hearing about that makes you uncomfortable, be kind to yourself and skip this episode. Misogyny is also pretty rampant in the story too, so if you're not in the mood today, come back another time. With that in mind, I'm going to vaguely spoil the end of this one, so if you need a second to not get it spoiled...
Skip like 30 seconds?
Yeah, This is the spoiler song. It isn't very long, but it's giving you enough time to click away. It is the spoiler song. It isn't very long, but you should use this time to click away. Da 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 da. We don't want to spoil you if you don't want to do it. Da 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 da. We don't want to spoil you, so you should get through it. Spoiler song. And now we're back. The revenge is successful. Not going to more details beyond that, but the intensity on this one is pretty high, and I don't want y'all shitting and crying about it, so I promise this one ends well. We do get a full revenge.
That's nice.
So we're going to kick things off focusing on the main character. Her name is Lee Min-ju. She's our main character. She's a 30-year-old teacher turned housewife, married to the shittiest man in a 50-mile radius. She's smart, well-mannered, multi-talented, and pretty to boot. She's so many things in so many ways that she couldn't just settle for being an average housewife, and runs a cooking and decorating blog in her spare time. And she is a damn good homemaker. Like, if this manhwa were a little more current, or if she were herself a little more current, she'd definitely be like on TikTok showing people how to make insane shit from scratch and flaunting how beautifully clean and white her home is. Yeah, she's not
beige, because isn't beige the color now?
Yeah, she's not a sad beige woman. She's very much like an ultra modern, like, yeah, I'm a housewife and I'm the best at it, and also I'm hot and look at my designer clothes. She's more on that side.
Mm-hmm.
So not that woman that made the like Cocoa Puffs from scratch or whatever. Not her.
I don't know about the Cocoa Puffs.
Oh, you don't know about her? Yeah, some woman made cereal from scratch.
I mean, is that impressive? We see a bunch of people do that.
It's not impressive. She's just very Mormon. And she's trying to make it seem like you could have my lifestyle. I'm also a hot model.
Is it one of those recipes where it's like you would need all day to make it?
Girl, yes. And she made Coke from scratch. Coca-Cola from scratch also.
So, okay, not from like, you know, a bottle and like the tubs you can buy at the store?
No, she actually got a recipe to make Coca-Cola and made it from scratch.
Nah,
for my children to have a refreshing beverage later.
One, you got too much time and money on your hands. You're probably just stuck at home, breeding. One of those trad wives.
Yeah, you got it. Nail on the head.
I mean, look, live a lifestyle, but shit. I don't like how that shit is pitched. Like, anyone can do it, and it's not exhausting. And it's like, dude.
Yeah, so that...
Some people don't have that way about them.
Yeah, make your paper however you want to, but I will say that Min-ju is the antithesis to this. She would be the person that, like, she lets you know it's actually difficult, or she tells you this is a long project that I want to do because it makes me happy. Because it does. It makes her happy. It makes her feel fulfilled in a way. And so she's more Martha Stewart.
Yeah.
And less whatever is on TikTok.
Yeah, because on the flip side, there are definitely people who are like, yeah, I'm spending a lot of time making this thing. But it's the ones who are like, look, I built this house and it took me like a minute. And it's like, what are you talking about?
Yeah, okay, Min-ju's not an Ina Garten. That woman that's like lives up in the Northeast, and she's always like, if you can't get fresh lobster from your backyard, store-bought is fine. That woman.
Yeah.
She's not like her either.
Yeah.
She's the one you'd want to see. We kick things off with her prepping herself for the day, doing her hair, applying makeup, and putting on a classy dress before attempting to see off her husband. I say attempt because the motherfucker wasn't planning to say shit to her, so she had to chase him down to see him off. And then he refuses breakfast, tells her he'll be late, and then refuses dinner. Homie obviously wants to get out of there as fast as possible, which I don't get because his wife is hot.
Okay, and this is just the beginning. There's no lead up as to help us understand why he's just being a jerk.
No. This chapter 1.
Oh, man.
Yeah, chapter 1.
It's just a good setting for, problems in the home.
Yeah, because also, again, she's a housewife. She got fully dressed up before her husband left. Face beat, got that shit on, top to bottom, ready to be viewed.
This woman's already...
And she's a housewife.
Yeah, this woman's already too good for him.
Right. So she's left there, dejected for a moment, before writing and encouraging herself to start her daily tasks. She's getting set up to start blogging before remembering that she's out of eggs, and sets out to the store. On her way back, she pauses at a park bench and watches the kids and moms hang out with each other. In particular, she focuses in on 2 women having a grand old time conversing, and she laughs and smiles along with them. and then it hits her. She hasn't really laughed or smiled since she got married over a year ago. Rather than give herself the opportunity to wallow, she abruptly stands up to make her way home. But she runs into a young and sexy immovable object and falls to the ground with her precious groceries.
Man, it's an interesting start. I really like it, where it's like, we see evidence of, oh, this guy sucks, and then it finally hits her, oh, this guy sucks. Mm-hmm. Like, I like it when, like, the character also realizes it. Like, even if they're not ready to face it, like, if you realize it, it means you're gonna face it soon.
And again, chapter 1, she's already miserable, and it's super clear that she's miserable.
Yeah.
But she runs into a sexy, immovable object, falls to the ground. She checks herself over and discovers that she scraped some of the skin off of her palm. A hand reaches out to gently clasp hers, and a handkerchief is applied to her bleeding palm. This is the most, like, shoujo moment of, oh, someone kind gently clasped my hand and pressed their handkerchief to mine and very gently just kind of held my hand in my forearm kind of moment.
Yeah. Inside my body beats the heart of a bitter old widow. I already don't trust this scene. You wouldn't have to tell me this is a revenge story. If you had just, like, gone in and not mentioned it was revenge, I would have called this scene out and been like,
Because it feels too staged. It feels too much
staged,
like...
yeah.
Yeah, it feels like your 90s shoujo moment where, like, your crush finally noticed you kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just, like, when I see these moments in comics, regardless of whether they're good or not, my brain goes, what you want?
She finally looks up to see the smiling but apologetic face of a handsome young woman. Enter Seo Jia, our female lead. She sure is fucking handsome, sunshine beaming off of her in the middle of the park, and Minju notices. Jia helps Minju up, apologizes for fucking up her groceries, and then offers to escort her home, carrying the bags, of course. She's handsome, she's a gentleman, and wow, they also live in the same building.
Back up, she doesn't replace those eggs?
She did offer to replace the eggs, actually.
Good, okay.
No.
Because I'm sorry, if a bitch breaks my eggs, you're gonna pay them back.
No. She's...
Eggs are expensive.
She's got her little fedora on. She knows how to treat Minju like
no. Do you want me to sit here and judge her the entire comic?
No, she did offer to pay for the eggs, and Minju...
You erase that fedora.
Minju straight up told her, like, yeah, no, it's totally chill. I've got... Because she only, like, broke 2, so she's like, I'll eat it. We won't worry about it. I'll get more eggs next time.
No, that's fair, because, like, when you hear broken eggs, I'm thinking the whole set.
I mean, in this day and age, even if you broke 2 eggs, I need you to buy me more eggs.
Yeah, eggs are expensive.
So I get you. Yeah. I thought when I was reading this again, I was like, wait a fucking minute. Don't you let her tell you no. And then I remembered, oh, that's right. Minju's husband and his family are rich. It's not that deep. They will... Yeah, I forgot. I was thinking about myself in that moment.
No. Yeah, that's not a big... Well, they're rich. I mean, it should still be a big deal. I don't think you should waste money. But, like, you know, I get why she's like, oh, it's fine. But, honey, if you break my egg, I will kill you. You better go replace it.
Jia just so happens to live in the unit above Minju's. So they chat all the way to Minju's apartment and then part ways, agreeing to see each other again sometime. Minju is over the moon. She finally got to talk to someone besides her husband, her mom, or her husband's family. She made a personal connection for the first time in months at least, and she couldn't be happier. She returns to her blogging work with renewed fervor, excited to meet Jia again.
I'm happy for her, because, like, since you mentioned her looking at the women in the park, I was, like, already like, oh, this woman has no friends. And, like, that's just...
Yeah, she's, like, completely isolated, basically. Yeah.
Did he do that to her? Did he isolate her?
It's complicated.
Okay.
Yeah. Jia, meanwhile, also returns to her apartment. Upon entering, we're met with another young woman dressed only in her underwear.
Okay.
Straight up, she's just in her underwear. The new girl asks where Jia has been, and then they briefly discuss Minju, almost as though they know exactly who she is, despite the apparent meet cute that afternoon. New girl quite abruptly puts her hand down Jia's pants and then starts caressing her, eventually leading both of them to the bed. In between grinding on each other, they continue to discuss Minju, mentioning how it's so sad that she doesn't even know her husband is cheating on her. Chapter 1 ends with Jia asserting, in the middle of the horizontal tango, mind you, that she's not going to half-ass things and she is actively going to destroy them all.
That's a lot. That's, like, this feels like a movie already. It's just like, oh, you know, like the movie trailer, a woman bumps into another woman and she falls, and, like, they have that cute, like, and then it cuts to sex, and it's like, I'll get my revenge, cock of gun, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Just, like, it feels like a trailer for one of those sort of flicks.
Yeah. So, that's pretty fucking ominous. That's the end of chapter 1.
Yeah, no, I would have been hook, line, and sinker for this. Like, this is pretty interesting. Because, again, like, honestly, if you also see a toxic woman, because I'm taking, currently, how I'm taking it, is Gia is a toxic woman.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe she's going to scam her. Maybe she's justified for going after Minwoo. We don't know yet. But at this point, I'm like, I don't like her, but I hope you get yours, so I would want to read it.
Mm-hmm. Chapter 2, we're back to focusing on Minju, who is back to ruminating on her relationship and the disappointment she feels within it. Because she was a superstar as far as young women go, and here she is now, feeling lonely and underappreciated. Then she takes her pumpkin cake out of the oven, and her problems suddenly don't matter anymore, because truthfully, warm baked goods change your brain chemistry, if only for a second. Instead, her focus shifts back to the young woman that she met, and how she's just a college student, and living alone, and probably doesn't eat well. And then you see the housewife click into place in this moment.
So she could tell that Gia was younger than her?
One, it is obvious that Gia is younger.
Okay.
She's very, like, kind of young
person
face.
aesthetic.
Yes. Yeah, like, she's 22, and you can tell that she's 22.
Okay. And Minwoo's 30.
She's in her 30s. I believe she's 34.
Oh, there's quite an age difference.
There is quite an age difference, yes. They also actually talked about Gia explaining, like, oh yeah, I'm in college, but I'm taking a gap year, and blah, blah, blah.
Mm-hmm.
And so she knows that about her, and at this point, if you are in your 30s and you meet somebody who's like 21, 22, something happens to you where you're like, that's a baby. That's like a baby adult. It's like not a baby, it's a baby adult. And baby adults are basically just newborn deer, and they don't know how to feed themselves. I should get them something. I should order them a pizza. I should check their pipes.
Of course. I know all this. Like, we had tons of younger coworkers, like, at our work, and we were just always like, oh, we should get them a treat, or we should help them out.
So I get Minju here. Like, yeah, I've definitely made shit for people who I know they're adults, but I need to take care of them.
Yeah, you gotta feed them. It's in your nature. It's in our nature.
Yeah. So, a bit later, she's standing in front of Jia's door, cake in hand. She rings the bell and waits. Jia and her compatriot were deep in activities, so it's clear she had to rush to the door to greet Minju.
God.
So Minju is greeted by a 20-something in just panties and sweat-soaked white t-shirt. It's obvious something was going on, but she remains polite and offers up the cake anyway. Full poker face. Jia's partner, who we'll call Heina from now on, because she hasn't technically get named for a while, but we can't say partner the whole time. So
yeah.
Heina is the other girl with the immediate hand-down pants. But Heina comes to the door, equally underdressed, causing Minju's politeness to kick in again and ask about her. Jia throws an arm around Heina and proclaims, with a sly, suggestive look on her face, that they're girlfriends, and asks if Minju is chill with that.
This whole little setup's a little weird. I feel, one, I don't care how nice my apartment is or whatever, I'm not going to show up to the door in my panties and shirt, even if it's another woman. Like, who knows who's going to pass me in the hall, that sort of thing. And then, like, hey, yeah, I've clearly done the tango, as you were saying, and then this is my girlfriend. You good? I don't know. It's a lot to dump on a person you just met.
You're right. And if it were just a regular interaction of, I don't know who you are, we're just meeting, I wouldn't do that either. But if I'm trying to get a woman ensnared in my business, I might show more than I should. Because that's actually a tactic for if you're trying to manipulate somebody, is oversharing details or pretending you're oversharing.
Okay.
So you give them the false idea that they're sharing something deep with you, and it triggers, in a lot of people, a sense of, oh, well, I have to share with you something deep about me, too. So if you say, oh, my dad died last year, you automatically think, like, oh, well, bad stuff's happened to me, too. I'm sorry for your loss. That's a thing that people do. And it can happen in romantic or sexual situations, too. If you show somebody a titty in, like, a wild situation, and they're like, oh, I'll also show a titty. And so this is kind of where that extra manipulation is coming in.
I'm still wound up from episode 1. Every time we go into this, I just think someone's going to get killed or stalked. Like, you started too hard. Now I'm just like, this is it. This is a trap. This is murder.
There's, like, regular stalking in this one, like, with a purpose, not just because they're obsessed.
Like, that doesn't make it better. Stalking is stalking, you know? When is she going to get pushed down the stairs with broken legs?
No one gets pushed down the stairs in this one.
It's going to take me another 4 episodes to get over episode 1.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. And by then I'll have something else where somebody gets their legs broken, so it'll be fine.
Ugh.
Poor Minju stumbles through explaining that she's open-minded and just doesn't really know anyone who's gay or a lesbian, but it's fine, really. Gia just keeps that sly smile on her face.
It's fine, please take the cake. I need to go home.
Yeah. Exactly.
Oh my god.
But Gia just keeps that sly smile on her face and finally asks Minju for her name. Because at this point, they just knew each other, but didn't know each other's name.
No, it's all wrong. Nah. If I was Minju, well, I guess I'll stay lonely for another year. Woman's creepy.
Once she knows Minju's name, Gia then leans close and tells Minju, Ani, thank you. So we're clear, Ani means technically older sister, but it's a way that you refer to older women that you are in good terms with. And so she's immediately assigning that, like, hey,
we're friends now.
Yeah. It's got that connotation, and then also a lot of people have kind of a thing about being called Ani or
like Oppa.
Yeah, Ani or Oppa, very much assuming that you're closer than you are, or putting an assumption that, like, we're close, and that also I maybe kind of like you in a way, and so it's immediately kind of clicking in her brain, like, no one's called me Ani in a hot minute, and then it's very much this, half-naked woman.
I just feel really bad for Minju already, because it sounds like she's going to go from one red flag relationship to another. That sucks, because we don't know anything about Minju yet. I mean, I don't know if she's a bad person or whatever.
Right.
So if you just, like, later reveal she killed 3 kids, maybe then I'll be like, okay, this makes sense now. But right now I'm just like, oh man, you're gonna get manipulated again.
Right. And, like, Gia is putting on the whole dangerous butch lesbian thing. She knows how to really ensnare you. Like, let me whisper in your ear. Let me put a hand on your shoulder and slide it down your arm.
Sorry. The thought of a 22-year-old being dangerous to a 30-year-old, that just makes me cackle.
You should keep that in mind.
Yeah. I mean, I can say that because I am in my 30s, and I have had younger women and men hit on me as if I haven't lived my life. Mm-hmm. Honey, you don't know what I've done. You don't know what I've seen or how I lived. Your little, hey, those are nice, slowly looks up and down outfit you got there. That ain't gonna work on me. Boy, try something new.
I get you. So this meeting between the two of them plagues Minju's mind into the next day. Mostly because she feels like an idiot for tripping all over herself, but also maybe something else is tingling in her brain.
In her brain only? Not her clitoris?
She has to deal with the asshole she married, telling her he'll be away on a business trip for 2 weeks, with no warning, in which he refuses to give her any more details about.
Wait, so, like, after her encounter with the possibly dangerous lesbian, she then goes home. Her husband has not come back from wherever. Yeah. And is like, hey, I'm on my cell. See you later.
So he hasn't come back home at that point. We shift into the next day.
Oh, okay.
And the next day, he's just like, oh, by the way, on the way out of the fucking house, he's like, oh yeah, I'm going to be on a business trip for 2 weeks. Like, starting tomorrow.
On the way out. That sucks.
I cannot express to you how much I hate this man if it's not already clear.
The communication is whack.
Yeah. So Minju, already lonely when he's in town, comes on to him, hoping he might be interested in sex before he goes, and he has the audacity to not only refuse, but slaps her hands away, and demands to know what's wrong with her. He's essentially grossed out by his own goddamn wife that he chose to marry.
By his hot wife. He's like, I don't want sex.
Yes.
Dude.
She's offering you the puss to send you on your way, and you're like, oh, God, what's wrong with you? I can't believe you, my wife that I chose to marry, would want to have sex with me. And I'm like, come on.
It's time for a divorce.
I would throw him in the garbage.
Yeah, that's a divorce.
Yeah. Minju recoils as he storms out. Tears well up in her eyes, and she blessedly, because he deserves this 100%, she blessedly calls him a son of a bitch, which is exactly what he fucking is. She heads to the shower after that to freshen up, again mulling over the state of her relationship. It's totally normal to want to have sex with her husband, and it's totally normal to want sex in general. Gia and her lady friend definitely had sex. And then bang, she faps in the shower to her hot butch neighbor, blaming it on her husband's negligence the whole way.
Yeah, like, I can see that. That feels like a real feeling for someone to have. Or at least, like, I feel like that's a common trope I've read about where it's like, they're having a happy marriage and you kind of, like, wind up fapping to a fantasy you build up about a stranger.
Yes.
I feel bad for Minju. You always hear about women who are in these relationships with, like, men who are 2 out of 10 while she's, like, a 10 out of 10. And
or
it's
12
like,
out of 10.
Right?
Yeah.
And it's like, that sucks. And it happens to men, too, where you're, like, you meet you hear about an amazing man and his wife is just a cunt. And you're like, God damn. It's like, why can't the 10s meet up with each other and the 2s meet up with each other?
Yeah, and we're not just talking about, like, physical attractiveness. We mean, like, whole person.
Yeah. You don't have to be hot to be a 12. Dog, it has to be, like, how you treat people, how you take care of yourself, how you treat work and relaxation and the household. That stuff is really hot. In the future, or just in general, it's just really hot to have someone who's on their shit and cares about people. If you're hot and you're an asshole, fuck you. You're a 2, you know?
Yeah, yep. So, post-nut clarity hits her like a freight train. And she's still reeling from having masturbated to a young woman she barely knows when the doorbell rings. And who's at that door, if not Gia? Cake plate in tow, asking to come in. Minju's guilt weighs heavily on her as she tries to decide whether or not to let her in. She knows what she did. She knows it's wrong, maybe? But you can tell how excited she is to just make a connection. You can tell she's already captivated. So she asks Gia to wait as she gets decent. An evil little smile spreads across Gia's face because she knows she's won. At this point, she knows that Minju has taken whatever bait she set out for her. What she's not prepared for is Minju, fresh from the shower and still damp, in a white, short tank dress. It is essentially a slip. It's one step above being a slip or a nightie. Minju is showing off her assets in a way that her elegant but conservative clothing that she normally wears does not.
So, like, I'm just putting it out there. Maybe Minju's doing it on purpose, or maybe she's not. I'm inclined to think she's doing it on purpose. She is basically putting out the signal she's ready to cheat. Because whether she's really ready to admit that to herself, because she showed up in this short little outfit, I think she's putting out a signal that, hey, I'm ready. And I don't know if she's emotionally connected with that thought.
Yeah, I will say, Minju has never thought about having sex with a woman before. 5 minutes ago was the first time she's ever thought about it.
I'm not saying she's doing it actively.
Yeah.
But, like, I've read a few books about this.
Oh, yeah.
Where how women, when they don't feel appreciated, they start to do little things that go against their nature to just sort of, like... A lot of the books say that this leads to infidelity, cheating, or, like, someone breaking away from a relationship. And they're not saying that in a negative light. They're saying it in that, like, this is the starting of, like, the foundation of a relationship breaking up and...
Right.
And the relation... And, like, hints that things aren't going right. And it's not that, like, hey, a woman can't go do a nice thing for herself. But it's like, if you start to drastically change how you look and how you behave, you are wanting something new. You're wanting to be free. And it can cause problems if not addressed properly, but it can also be very freeing and good for the woman.
Right.
It's just one of those things.
I think in this case, that is visually what's happening. I think there is something... I think her subconscious is maybe leaning that way. But I also think that up until this point, she's kind of an oblivious heterosexual woman, and is just thinking it's not that deep for me to be partially undressed in front of.
But that's why I think self-consciously she's doing it.
Yeah.
Because it's not so much that Gia is a lesbian; it's more about the fact that Minju jerked off to her.
Yeah, I think it's the two things at the same time presenting a very specific outcome.
Because Minju had sexual feelings about this woman, and now it is wet and in a provocative outfit.
Yeah.
It's more like, oh, she's just wanting to be looked at. Not even have an affair, not even have anything, but she's yearning to be desired, and she's expressing that.
Yeah. Gia is a bit gobsmacked, and that's totally fair, because again, Minju is
very hot.
She is hot. Gia also finally introduces herself and gives Minju her full name. She also gives Minju a little thank you gift of some dishes and plates. Nothing too fancy, of course. They were only $400 fucking.
Oh, yeah, she's rich.
Minju is visibly shaken because what fucking college student buys $400 plates? But she's not suspicious in the least. She's more just like...
Oh, so Gia gives her the plates.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought Minju gave her the plates.
No, Gia gives her the plates. And so Minju is like, how does a kid have this much money?
Yeah, I agree. But I guess they are in a rich apartment.
What's also interesting, though, is that Gia is honestly like, those aren't that much. And at this point, that should be your first hint that maybe Gia doesn't quite have her shit together either. You can't tell for sure if this is part of her plan or if she really doesn't think that's expensive. And you're not positive.
So, again, just where I'm at right now, I'm getting the feeling that Gia is trying to do some form of revenge, but she probably doesn't have it together as much as she thinks. Yeah, okay.
Gia's attention is then drawn to the giant commemorative framed wedding photo of Minju and the parasite that she lives with. She makes some small talk about it and points out a loose nail that's hanging up the frame, but otherwise diverts her attention back to Minju. And why wouldn't she? Minju's out here with her dress strap half down her luscious little shoulders. Perfect opportunity for Gia to lean in close and whisper right next to her neck, and ever so slowly move that strap back up where it belongs. And then she says, "Ani, you seem to be careless."
I agree, Gia. I agree.
After that, she attempts to leave, but Minju, face fully flushed, tells her to stay and let her prepare some beverages so they can talk.
Oh, Lord.
Gia agrees, knowing that her secret plan is going more smoothly than she hoped. While they're, kind of, sort of, maybe...
flirting.
Flirting too heavily at that moment. We jump back for a second to Hei-na, Gia's partner. She's still half naked and in the apartment. She's in charge of checking security footage to see when Minju's terrible husband gets home. But she's not super interested in doing that. She's far more focused on being referred to as girlfriend and how she defo wants that, and this whole situation is just so goddamn annoying. She is not keyed into the job that she's been given. They have security cameras rigged up all over the apartment to track when Minju's husband comes home. And so this is obviously a task that Hei-na's been given, and she's like, but I'm somebody's girlfriend.
And she's not? She's not Gia's girlfriend?
No, Gia, this
So that was made up?
Yeah. Gia just said it in the moment to be like, hey, I have to explain why a half-naked girl came out of my apartment kind of thing.
Oh.
So she made her part of the plan. But no, they're not dating. They are legitimately partners in crime at this point.
And they're just like sex buddies.
Yeah, they're partners in crime and they're sex buddies. But now
but it's like, there are feelings in the other one.
Yeah, now Hei-na is like, oh my god, she said girlfriend. We could be girlfriends. And it's like, girl.
Alright.
Yeah. So, of course, she's feeling righteously affronted about this whole revenge situation. Because why are you spending time with this other woman when you could be spending time with me? Even though that's the whole point of the situation. This is how the operation's supposed to go. So she purposefully fails to alert Gia that the cockroach is coming home.
Oh. Isn't he supposed to be gone?
Yeah, he's supposed to already be gone at work. Likely on his trip.
How would she alert her to... Okay, I get that they have the security cameras, but does she have like an earpiece in or something?
She can text her.
Oh, just a text.
Yeah,
okay.
Text her.
Sorry, my brain is now full espionage lesbians.
Yeah, we're...
What was that one lesbian espionage movie we watched?
There's lesbian espionage? Oh, is it Debs?
Debs, yeah.
They were spies.
Because it had that guy in it I love.
Yeah.
I can't remember his name, but
I know
he's
what you're talking
amazing.
about. Yeah,
Amazing actor.
Yeah. Back at Minju's apartment, Jia, left to her own devices, is intensely staring at the wedding photo. She seems captivated. Because for her, she's essentially face to face with her worst enemies. Several things happen simultaneously. Minju comes out with the drinks, only to run into her husband who's just stepped inside, who questions if there's a guest, before a crash draws their attention to said guest. Jia is standing before them, dazed and bloody, in front of the shattered remains of their wedding photo. She punched it. You know she punched it.
Can you tell she punched it?
You can...
Or, like, does it look like there was a weird accident?
You as the reader are pretty certain that she punched it, because there's just blood on her hand, and the frame has fallen to the ground, and the glass of the frame is shattered. And there's, like, blood on the frame as well, but in a very specific, like, or blood on the shattered glass in a very specific location. So I knew immediately, it's like, she did something. There's no way.
There's so many red flags for this little lesbian. And I don't know what the fuck is going on, but I don't trust any of it.
Yeah. Minju asks if she's okay, you know, like a normal person. Her loser husband is just worried about his fucking frame and actually says, my frame.
Not the photo?
Not the photo. Not the human person in front of him who's bleeding profusely on the floor. My frame.
Mm-hmm.
They're both unaware of how filled with hate Jia is in that moment, not even as she weakly explains how the frame fell. So she disappears back to her apartment after this, hoping to calm down. Like, they can't even get there's even not even an opportunity to offer, like, wrap up her hand or whatever. She just, like, books it out of there because she is so mad she can barely, like, keep her shit together. She is just about shaking with anger.
I know I questioned before, can a 22-year-old really seduce this 30-year-old a little bit?
Mm-hmm.
And you told me to keep that in mind. Yeah, this 22-year-old is not ready for revenge. It's too hot-tempered.
She comes back to her apartment to hopefully calm down, except her own partner in crime is right there, innocently asking if she's back, instead of apologizing for not doing her goddamn job.
Does she even know she didn't do her job?
Oh, yeah. Like, it's very clear at this point that...
Well, I mean, like, she wasn't paying attention. How would she know the husband got home?
So, Hannah was paying attention. She looked the whole time. She knew that he was on his way home. She just didn't want to do it. Okay. Yeah, she just opted out.
I thought you meant that she was... When you explained that she didn't say anything, I thought you meant that she just... I'm not looking at all.
Girl was paying attention and then was like, well, I don't care about this. I don't want to.
Girl, then you ain't a girlfriend either. Like, if you want pussy, if you want cock, if you want a relationship, you actually gotta communicate. And even if it's just a situationship, you gotta communicate. Yeah. Like, dude, that can't be that hard for people to understand.
Yeah. So, Hannah also straight up lies about why she dropped the ball. You can just feel the toxicity in these women, and this is only the tip of the iceberg for them. Because, obviously, Jia last minute saying, well, you're my girlfriend, as a show, to, like, kind of get her revenge plot along. And then Hannah being like, well, I can lie right back to you. It's like, well, how is this going to go anywhere with you two, even if you want it? You're straight up lying to the person you want to be a partner with. You're just straight up lying to them.
Does Jia know that Hannah wants to be with her?
Yes.
Okay, so Jia definitely is toxic, and so is Hannah. Boy, these are some toxic women, and they are fumbling right now.
Yeah, they are fumbling bad. Hannah tends to Jia's hand, and then the anger finally, like, leaves her, replaced only with sadness. She opens up to Hannah and explains exactly why she hates Minju and her husband so much. Her sister's life was ruined by the two of them, and since then, Jia hasn't seen or heard from her sister, not even once, even though they lived in the same house. So her older sister became a hermit in her own house and hasn't, like, really seen or talked to anybody. Yeah, so like a
recluse and she's depressed.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've seen this a lot in, like, Asian-themed comics.
Yeah. So, with that in mind, Jia's gotta fuck Minju. For her to get her revenge, she's gotta fuck her.
She's gotta steal her from the husband because that will somehow do revenge.
That's gonna be part of it, yes.
All right. Yeah, that sounds... Honestly, like... I'm sorry, this sounds like weak 22-year-old. Mm-hmm. It does. Like, when you were younger, you want to do some really weird things of revenge.
Yeah.
But when you're older, like, honestly, you're like, I want to be so polite that you punch a wall when you have to go home. I don't know about you, but nothing makes me happier when it's like, oh, I don't like you. I'm going to be so nice to you that I'm going to get praised for it, and you're going to look bad. Others are going to judge you now.
Yeah.
Like,
the toxicity reverses. You're just, like, toxically pleasant and polite to people.
Yeah. Or at least that's how it's done in the South. It might be different up north, but in the South, I swear to God, you get older and you're just like, I'm going to be so pleasant, it drives you insane.
And the bless your hearts just come flying.
Oh, yeah.
Mouth as well.
Oh, you're so ugly. Bless your heart. That's such a Southern term.
So, Minju, completely unaware of what's coming for her, just keeps trying to deal with her life. Husband's gone, specifically off to have a fuck vacation with his mistress, abandoning Minju once again.
Wait. So that's why he's never home. He has a mistress.
Yeah, so it's mentioned offhandedly when Gia and Hena are talking that he's cheating on her. And so she doesn't know, like
in front of Minju it's mentioned?
No, it's mentioned between Gia and Hena. Like they're both talking.
Oh, Gia and Hena mentioned.
Yeah, they mentioned it earlier while they're finger banging each other that poor thing, she doesn't even know she's being cheated on. So yeah,
that's right. You did tell me that. Yeah. I forgot. Like that's how bad my memory is. I forgot you told me that.
It's also just how much is going on in this comic in a couple of chapters. Like I don't even think we're at chapter. We haven't
5?
even hit chapter 10. I think we're like chapter 5 or something like that. Yeah, so a lot of things happen very quickly in this too, and it's a lot of different point of views. So yeah, he's just been cheating on her this whole fucking time. And you also get the insinuation that he may have cheated on Gia's older sister as well. Mm-hmm. So this is also seeming like a pattern. And so that's where you're getting like, okay, so Gia's trying to fuck Minju, possibly as a like, gotcha, I'm going to make her cheat. Kind of thing, you know?
Like, you cheated, sir, so I'm going to make your wife cheat, so you know what it's like.
Yes.
Would he even care, though? Like, again, this is why it's a 22-year-old revenge plot, because if a bad man is a bad man, he ain't going to care that his wife cheats. He might care in the sense of, well, how dare she? She's taken power from me, but, like, it's not going to be the emotional sting Gia wants it to be.
Right. Minju tries to hang with her mom, since she's otherwise on her own at this point. But her mom has plenty of well-meaning excuses not to. She says things like, your in-laws will get jealous or be offended if I hang out with you too much. Or, your marriage to rich people honors me, and so I'd rather you, like, be good with them and don't worry about me kind of thing. Or even saying, but your husband is such good stock, and you should spend all your time taking care of him. And so...
Like, Mom, my husband's gone. Why doesn't she get that?
I know. And so Minju basically gets topped down by her mom and then just ends up sitting by herself.
So she doesn't have a good time even with her own family.
She doesn't have a very good support system. She's the child of a single mom, so she really only has her mom too. Yeah, that's the only person in her corner.
There's another comic that kind of talks about like bad moms as single moms. I wonder if that's also like a popular trope or trend in like queer themed comics or just comics in general. It's always I don't know. I just feel like I see a lot of, like, single moms unable to connect with their children.
Maybe. I know with Korea's going through a really big issue right now where parents are so busy they have difficulty connecting to their children. Mm-hmm. But it's that, like, the parents are working super, super hard because they're expected to work a lot of hours and then their wages maybe aren't keeping up with how they need to take care of their children. And so you have parents not getting home until super late and then their kids are at school, especially once you get to like middle school and high school, for like 10 plus hours a day in some cases, or they're at school and then they go to cram school. And so there is a lot of, I think...
There's a lot of disconnect.
There's a lot of disconnect between parents and their kids sometimes. So I remember when we were talking about On or Off, the woman broke up with Batman because she's like, I want to focus on my daughter, going through high school and getting ready for college. That was a woman who was rich and well off. And even in her position, she's like, I need to focus on my kid, right? Mm-hmm. And how important that was in what we're dealing... I think what a lot of people in Korea are dealing with is having the desire to connect with their kids, but not feel like they have... To. Yeah, you don't have that time or headspace to... So you get these brief moments sometimes. And so there's a big issue with that. And I think that's what's being reflected in comics. Because if they're having trouble with a 2-parent household, or like in a multi-generational household, imagine how much harder it is if you're a single parent.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, now I get it.
Yeah.
I mean, like, I know it's like... it's a problem everywhere where if you're single and you're having to take care
It's
of
just
someone.
harder. Yeah.
But I'm definitely thinking of comics where it's like almost like the single parent is bad in a way, and it's not because like they're busy with work, it's because they don't like their child as a single parent. I see it a lot, and I'm just curious, and you normally know more things than me, so.
In this case, Minju's mom really does love and care for her, but we'll get more into their relationship and why it is the way it is later, for sure. Mm-hmm. So Minju's sitting here kind of wallowing because there's no one to spend time with. She's alone. She's been feeling crazy the last few days. And then Jia appears, once again, like a shining beacon of butchness. She came because politeness dictates that she apologize for hurting herself in Minju's home.
Well, also, really, for punching her frame. I know no one cut on, but obvious.
Yeah. She brought with her a bottle of wine with the intention of drinking it right fucking now. She then leans in and gives Minju like an unnecessary cheek caress and then says, "Your eyes are red. Were you crying before I came here?"
Boo.
I need you to imagine a lot of things that she says in like your most like fuck boy from a teen rom-com.
No, that's why I'm sitting here like, nah. Because, okay, I was totally susceptible to this as a younger person. Mm-hmm. This would have had me like, oh my god, they noticed me. Mm-hmm. But like, now I'm just like, I don't know. As an older person, when a younger person hits on me, it's weird.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm older. This is weird. Don't. Even before we got married, when I was older and younger people hit on me, it was still like, no, I'm still like 5.
Go back to your parents.
Right, I'm still 5 to 8 years older than you. What are you doing?
You're not fully grown.
You especially have younger people hit on you, but you don't age.
You haven't incubated. I don't want to see.
Please age a few more years before hitting on me.
They drink to encourage Minju to talk about her troubles in front of a gorgeous spread of food because Minju is just that bitch. She always is cooking things that you see at Michelin star restaurants.
Well, what else is she gonna do?
True, but so she's so good at it.
Yeah, like she's got to be bored out of her damn mind.
For sure.
Not that like cooking's a bad thing. Cooking is fun, but like that's probably why she's making all these exquisite
multi-courses with like a crudité added on kind of thing. She spills how she feels alone and isolated from everyone, and that she knows that her husband doesn't love her, but doesn't know why. She's having some very deep and very real feelings, and she's so thankful to have someone on her side for once. This is the perfect time to bring back that 4D chess versus park pigeon metaphor, because it is unfolding in real time during this scene. Except in this case, the park pigeon is actually an exotic breed that escaped captivity and has been surviving and thriving in the wild through sheer grit. That pigeon also has a knife.
Who's the pigeon?
Minju. And Jia is the one trying to play 4D chess.
Against this talented pigeon.
Yes.
Actually, there are pigeons that are like beautiful pets, because that's what pigeons were supposed to be. The curly pigeons.
Yes. This is it. Minju is a curly pigeon, but she like worked at the circus or something, so she's not stupid. Ugh. She's got her shit about her, and she is carrying it.
You're gonna make me sad about pigeons, because like when I found out that they used to be pets, that they were bred to be pets, and then they became wild animals, and that like that's why they kind of struggle in the wild and are friendly, because they just want to be pets. I think about that more than I should, and I get sad. It's so dumb. These poor sad rat birds.
Jia turns on her full fuckboy Sigma adjacent charm, caressing Minju's hand and asking about her injury from a few days before, and she delivers the worst pickup line in history. "I don't know why you're treated so bad when you're so pretty."
Negative points. Negative holes. Girl has no riz.
It's so bad.
No riz at all.
Yeah, and then the fact that she doesn't at all realize that this type of lame talk shouldn't work on any grown woman is just proof of her age and inexperience. Like, she's got the spirit, but her follow-through is weak as fuck.
It feels like she should practice more with her flirting a little bit. Or, like, she should have gone over her plan with someone older who could have been like, okay, if you're gonna hit on an older woman, maybe try this a little more.
She's spitballing with another 22-year-old.
Exactly. So she had an older friend who she could have spitballed with. Because I bet if an older person had given her advice, the advice they would have given her is like, hey, listen to the older woman complain and do your best to sound sincere. Not act like a fuckboy who's ready for a party.
This is so relevant to somebody later, actually. Because there is an older person.
I'm psychic. I just know things.
That being said, even though she says the stupidest fucking thing possible, the tension in the room is incredibly high, and Minju is incredibly not straight, and she doesn't know it, and next thing you know, they're all over each other, kissing, full tongue, and Gia pressed between her legs and fondling her chest.
Minju, you dumb.
Minju does have the decency to stop, because, you know, Gia's supposedly got a girlfriend, and they really shouldn't do it. But Gia hits her back with that Uno reverse card and just says, hey, we're accomplices. We're both cheating right now.
Oh, okay.
And then they're on the dining table.
Okay. Like, look. Here's how I feel about it. I don't mind. It's not that I'm triggered by cheating. But at the same time, I'm just like, if you're at this point, everything needs to stop, and you need to cut ties with your man.
Mm-hmm.
Don't follow through with this. You're gonna feel bad about it later.
Yeah.
Or at least that's my opinion on it. But, like, whatever. I also feel like... am just like, Minju, come on. Don't fuck a 22-year-old fuckboy.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I judge anyone who fucks a 22-year-old fuckboy.
Mm-hmm.
Lesbian or not. Just don't do it.
They get to fingering and sucking and making a mess out of the table. But their thoughts make it clear that things are about to get complicated. Minju finds it way too easy to admit that she's wanted to fuck Gia, and is not encouraged to stop when she remembers how shit her husband is at sex.
So her husband's bad at sex on top of this.
He's a pump it up.
Why? Why? Why stay with this?
He just goes a couple times and then is like, you like that baby, and then stops.
Are we gonna learn she has, like, insecurity issues and that's why she stayed with this man?
We're gonna learn some stuff, dude.
We're gonna learn some stuff. Okay.
Gia seemingly ignores her own thoughts as she wonders why it took Minju so long to fall into her grasp.
How is this long?
Since it's obvious she's pent up. And then, of course, Gia gets too into it and doesn't stop at just pleasuring Minju, which was her initial plan. She seeks pleasure in return. Stupid shit to do when you've got a plan for revenge going full steam ahead.
Why is it stupid? Because, like, honestly, shouldn't she also try and get some pleasure out of this?
So, Gia makes a comment about how having sex with somebody can fuck with your perception of them. She makes this, like, a chapter or so ahead. Mm-hmm. And it's about Heina. Or, it's not no, she makes a comment about it earlier. Saying, like, you know, having sex with somebody can fuck with your head and, like, endear them to you, even if you don't mention it. She's talking to Heina about this. And I'm like, cool, but you're having sex with Heina, which is fucking with her, right? But then you're saying Minju's gonna get fucked up by you having sex with her and get attached to you.
Except now you
are not realizing that you can also get attached, you stupid motherfucker.
Yeah, she's definitely got a bit of a 22-year-old brain.
And also, Minju, in the middle of them fucking, like, she's getting her pleasure and whatever, she flips the table, so she turns the tables on Gia and starts going to town on her. So it's not like, she's like, oh no, I'm a shy little flower and I don't know what to do. She's in pleasure and she's like, I have to give it back to you. And she's a aggressive and eager participant in giving it back. So she's
good at it.
Yeah, and she's not bad at it. She's very good at it. Yeah. While they're, fist deep, Heina is stalking the husband and his mistress, gathering photographic evidence of their affair. And with that, all the pieces are set for a wild ride where lesbianism has no bounds. This is really where it starts to kick off.
Okay.
So let's get into addressing our characters, because there's quite a few, and there's some that you don't meet early enough or know enough about early enough to really get into the meat and potatoes of them. So outside of Minju, Gia, and Minju's terrible husband, there are several other major and minor characters that
Does he have a name?
Yeah, we'll get to in a second. Does he deserve a name? Fucker. Yeah. First we have Shin Heina. She's Gia's revenge partner. Though she doesn't really have a horse in this race, she's just kind of along for the ride. She and Gia, as I said before, have a sexual relationship that Hana wishes would become something more, even though it's made clear that there's absolutely no chance of it. Specifically, Gia tells her, you think that you're in love with me, but you're just in love with the idea of me and with yourself more than anything. You just want what I have.
Is it that she just wants a hot girlfriend? Like, what?
It's a little bit commodifying Gia, and the other part is that Gia is from a rich family.
Okay.
And does have status, and that Hana wants to be that person.
Okay.
So it's a very kind of narcissistic loving of somebody else is what it is.
Okay.
Hana seems sympathetic at the beginning, and it's not like she's treated with respect most of the time, but you do have to earn respect, and Homegirl ain't never tried to earn it in her life. So for every time Gia is less than pleasant to her, you kind of feel like she had it coming. So again, with the like, I'm not going to help you on your plan, but this plan is very important to you. You just opened up to me why it's important. But let me not help you because my feelings are more important in this moment.
Yeah, so it's definitely like, y'all at least couldn't be a couple because it's like, you're really not good for each other.
Mm-hmm. Her main purpose in life is to be liked and accepted, despite being a douche with a superiority complex. And she latched on to Gia for that exact reason.
Okay.
She is also trying to play 4D chess.
Hana?
Yeah. But she's using the same board as Gia and Minju. And she's using handmade Yu-Gi-Oh cards for some reason. So every move she makes is based on her own self-interest and what she thinks she deserves. And she comes off as pretty dumb and self-interested. She eventually does begin to kind of learn her lesson in how she's the arbiter of her own problems. But it takes getting involved with an even more morally gray person to get there. So we have to discuss Ho Hyun. She is that morally gray person. She is the infamous mistress of the husband.
Okay. So we actually will meet her.
Yes, she is a player character in this. She's his current mistress, alluding to the fact that he is either sleeping with other women besides her or has had a mistress before her or would have a mistress after her.
Mm-hmm.
She should be the next worst person here, but she's honestly not. She's shameless and kind of a jerk, but more because she doesn't really seem to care about other people or care about what's going on. She's not actually trying to be rude or unfair to anybody. It just is what it is. That's a hard kind of person to get along with, however, but she was raised that way and is holding on to a self-inflicted trauma that has continued pushing her down a path of being an asshole.
So she is in a relationship more like a business. It's not romantic. She's not in love with him. Mm-mm. She's just like, we're fucking and that's it.
Oh, she wants that paper, girl.
Oh, so she's, yeah, okay. No, like, she's doing it for the money.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, okay, get it.
Yeah, she knows he's a rich man.
Yeah, if you're gonna be someone's mistress, don't do it for love, do it for money. I mean that.
Her other, like, driving force is that she wants excitement in her life, and that's the main thing. She full stop just says, I want excitement in my life. And so that's the other reason, and the other catalyst as to why she's with a married man is, oh, it's exciting because I'm making him cheat.
Mm-hmm.
So if this dude was just on his own on the street and rich, she'd be like,
maybe.
I've done this before.
She likes a flair of something.
Yeah, she wants something interesting. She understands that people get hurt all the time, no matter what you do and for what reasons, and so she's not all that interested in trying her best to be a saint. Because she's right in this, at least in the case of this story, yes, she's cheating with him, but he would cheat with someone else, and he was going to. So there's no, like, her doing it isn't hurting Minju worse. Yeah. She's not a worse person than anybody else that would do it.
Yeah, so the feeling I'm getting so far is that Minju was either the accidental mistress of Gia's sister or the other way around. Mm-hmm. That the husband, like, was either dating Gia's sister and then was cheating on her with Minju, or was dating Minju but told Gia's sister that she was his only one, mm-hmm. and then that somehow got found up and messed up, and like that's mm-hmm. my guess based off the fact that this man has tons of mistresses, mm-hmm. despite being like a 3-second man.
Yeah, and also he's older than Minju, so if she's 33, 34, then he is like 37. Mm-hmm. So he's like 3 years older than her.
I'm not gonna judge him being older since she's like 10, 12 years older than
Gia.
I
mean that he's older, so like he's been doing this tomfoolishness
for
a
while.
Long period of time. Like that's what I'm trying to establish. Is he's older, should know better, got married, still doesn't know better.
But based off all this stuff you've been telling me, I'm guessing that like he definitely cheated on Gia's sister, or like she was the affair partner. Because there's definitely, that happens to women where they find out, oh, you're cheating on your wife with me? What the fuck? And they don't know, so. Mm-hmm. And that's as traumatic, I think, as, like, being cheated on.
Yeah, for sure.
Because I guess it's still cheating, technically.
Yeah. Hana actually at some point meets up with Ho-yeon. So she meets up with the mistress.
With the mistress?
It's a stupid reason why she does it, but she does meet up with the mistress at some point. And so they do meet, and Ho-yeon is the catalyst for Hana kind of both fucking up her life a little more and then actually finally recovering some of her shit and getting her shit a little bit better together. She helps Hana out a lot, actually. So you do get a chance to see that Ho-yeon has morals while dealing with Hana, because when they meet for the first time, she mistakes Hana for another mistress of the douchebag husband, and she balks at the idea because she's so young, and this man's like 37.
Yeah.
Like, for all of Ho-yeon's flaws, she does have a line, and she's quite capable of, like, living a chill life. She just doesn't want to.
Mm-hmm.
She just loves to cause mess. She's also probably the most dangerous person featured besides Minju. She's also bisexual, seemingly, for shits and giggles.
So Minju's dangerous?
Yeah.
All right. I mean, we're definitely getting hints that she's more than meets the eye, so.
Yeah. Ho-yeon purposely weaves herself deeper into the plot of the story just because she wants to, and manages to get the one thing out of it that she's wanted all along. Does she grow as a person? Yes? No? Maybe? Kind of? I think she really loses one of her main reasons to be a menace to others and finds a reason to use her batshit behavior to help people, and she does help Hana, like I said, get her shit together.
Even if it's, like, a little bit ham-fisted. Even if it's a little, like, Fight Club, grab the lie,
I will tell you, the one scene that I really like that kind of explains Ho-yeon's behavior is she has Hana move in with her at one point because she can't take care of herself on her own. She has her move in with her, but she's still at that point seeing Minju's husband, and so he'll come over to her place to have sex with her, and this woman only lives in a 1-bedroom apartment, so she makes Hana sit in the closet while they do the dirty. While she does the dirty with this man.
But it's only 3 pumps, so it's not going to be that long.
Right, it's not going to be that long. But it's that she keeps doing that, and I'm like, so you're helping her out, you really are, but you're making her sit in the closet while you can do the nasty. Oh my god.
Again, I'm stuck on the fact that this man can get women at all if he can only pump and dump.
It's money.
God damn.
It's money in a designer suit. That's what it is. And he does buy her gifts and stuff like that. And again, they were going on a fuck vacation. He was taking her, like, possibly abroad.
He's got money, so yeah, I get it because there's money, but holy shit.
Yeah.
I couldn't tolerate it if this man couldn't give me an orgasm. Jesus Christ.
Well, you have different standards.
I do. I want to come.
Yeah. So the other character we go over is Seo Se-ah. Se-ah is Jia's older sister, as mentioned earlier. She's a true innocent in this whole situation and has done nothing wrong. Her and Jia's parents are pretty absent in their childhood, so she took up raising Jia and that makes them incredibly close. Her life is blown to bits when Minju and her shitty husband get married. Since then, she's become a hermit that lives in her room, talking to no one. Her suffering is what triggers Jia to seek revenge. But she really actually does deserve to have someone fight for her.
So yeah, he was seeing Jia's sister. What's her name again?
Se-ah.
So he was seeing Se-ah, and then up and married Bin Woo, and that fucked her up.
It's something like that.
It's
for everything that you think it could be, it's a little bit deeper than that.
It's a little deeper. Okay. Yeah, and you're not going to give it away because you're a bitch. Rude, I just want to know more. But I know. You're trying to not give everything away, but I want to know.
And Se-ah is interesting because she does have some people in her corner, but she does, again, still have a limited scope of people to support her. Because her parents obviously don't kick her out or anything. They let her stay in her room. But it's kind of more like they just don't give a shit. Like, they're like, yeah, we'll provide for you, but, like, we're not going to be there for you emotionally.
Yeah, there's plenty of parents. We've definitely seen movies and media where it's like there's parents who they're raising the child, but they're ignoring them emotionally and other stuff. So. And
that's very much what it is. Who she does have in her corner outside of her younger sister, though, is Cheon Baek Sung-ni. She is an older, cooler, butch-adjacent lesbian, and they're best friends.
All right.
Or at least they were, like, super tight friends until the big event. This woman's also the accidental source of some of their revenge plot.
So the big event is Minwoo and her husband getting married.
Mm-hmm.
That's the big event.
Yeah.
That caused the sister's trauma.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, or adjacent to that. Baek Sung-yi also is the person that gets Jia to start her revenge. She's on the same wavelength as Jia as far as, like, hating Minju and her husband, but she doesn't actually agree with the seeking revenge part.
But she gets Jia to do it?
Yes, because the problem is Jia didn't know exactly what happened to her sister initially.
Mm-hmm.
She knew that her sister was upset and not speaking to her anymore and stuff like that, but she didn't know the full details. And so the person who gives her the full details is Baek Sung-yi. But she gives
and so that triggers a revenge.
Yes, she gives a 16-year-old the details. Or is she 16? She's like 7. But I mean, she's a teenager.
She was a teen
she was
when
a teenager.
This whole thing
yeah, she's
started.
a teenager when this starts. Yeah, she's still in high school when this starts. And so Baek Sung-yi gives her that information, and her teenage brain is like, how dare you? I'm gonna kill a man.
Yeah.
And so she doesn't do it on purpose. She's trying to be informative, but it isn't the right thing to say.
Yeah. No, especially... But she probably doesn't know it's not the right thing to say, because she probably doesn't know that the sisters are each other's whole world.
She is aware of that, but she just didn't think this would be the catalyst.
Yeah, but I get it. It's a young person too to be like, I'm gonna get revenge like this. And I'm not saying young people can't revenge. Listen, young people, you get your revenge, but really think it through.
Yeah.
Plan. Go find an evildoer. Something.
Yeah, because Baek Sung-yi, what she suggests is for everybody to get therapy. She wants Seo to get therapy.
That's the smarter.
She wants Jia to get therapy.
Yeah. That's the smarter method. That's probably the one that's going to hurt you less in the long run.
Yeah.
But if you're petty, at least plan out your revenge just a little bit.
Yeah. So she suggests therapy for everybody that she even comes across that's having an issue. She's a really loyal friend, but she's also willing to change her mind and present it with new information. So if she happened to find something out that was kind of bonkers, she'd be the person to be like, okay, maybe I was being out of pocket, maybe I need to kind of shift my ideas or whatever. But she's consistently going to go to bat for Seo.
Because the husband's definitely dragged Minju into all this mess. So a lot of people are hating on her when they don't need to hate her. It's just the husband's fault.
That's the idea that you're getting.
Yeah.
Yes.
At least that's what I'm getting right now.
Yeah. Baek Sung-yi is also a real estate agent. And also, she is Ho Yeon's ex-stepsister. Both things will be important. Yeah, she's the mistress's ex-stepsister. And these are both important later.
This is a weird tangled web.
Yes. Also, Baek Sung-yi has big boobs. And you will absolutely notice her honka badanka ruse, and you will be very thankful.
Will I?
Maybe you won't be thankful, but I think the people reading this would absolutely be thankful just to see Big Booba. Okay, and then of course, like, the husband's name is Jungwoo, whatever. Like, he's got a name, it's cool, it's whatever. His name is Jungwoo. Jungwoo's stupid. I just need to get that out there first, because that is the primary thing that you're going to know about him. He's dumb as shit. And he married Minju at the behest of his parents, because she's respectful, and respectable, and a good girl. But otherwise, he couldn't care less. He was decent to her while they were dating, but then after their union, he is hell-bent on being the worst husband of the century. He's also a toxic mama's boy, so he'll do whatever she asks and is still used to being taken care of by her. He throws Minju under the bus whenever he disagrees with Mommy Dearest.
Husband, Jungwoo. A name at last.
Fuck him. His entitlement is high, his privilege is even higher, and his IQ is in the single digits. The only reason he's gotten as far as he has is 100% nepotism and favors from other more influential and hardworking people, and he still manages to find problems in his life. He's also a capital M misogynist and thinks every woman outside of his mom is either dumb or obsessed with him. Yeah, I know. Yeah, so there's a scene where he accuses somebody of being into him, and I almost like broke my hand. I was clenching my fist so hard.
No.
This dude sucks. He's one of the main reasons why
I can't get over that he's a 3 pump and dump man and he has this many bitches. I'm just saying.
He thinks,
there's not enough money in the world.
But he also thinks he's God's gift to women. And I don't understand.
I swear to God, it's the nature of a 3 pump dump man. They think they're the best thing on the earth when they can't find the clit if they had a map.
But we should all collectively kill this man. I for sure volunteer. He's not real, so I can kill him and it's not a big deal.
Put him in Sims. Back to Sims.
Yeah, put him in Sims.
Put him in Sims. Put him in the pool. Take away the stairs.
Take that ladder away.
Take it.
He was bound to suffer in some way in this story, and he really and truly fucking deserves it. His mom and dad are defo enablers of his behavior, with his mother being the worst. Big boy mom energy, like, my boy can do nothing wrong, and he's just like that, and it's totally fine.
Is he an only child, too?
Yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah.
But they're also fairly entitled. Like, his parents are also just super entitled. In typical douchebag rich people fashion, they want more money to add to their huge pile of money.
Yeah.
And then there's Minju's mom. She never gets a name beyond Miss Lee, which feels like a further insult to the difficult life she's lived as a single mom with a small business. But Minju's mom is complicated. She's not abusive, but she's definitely too deep in her own bullshit to properly care for her daughter as an adult, specifically. You wouldn't call her a bad person if you met her on the street. She's a hardworking small business owner who raised an incredibly successful and well-rounded child. But she's so focused on said child's future that she doesn't care about her present. So she cares about Minju, but she kind of is having to...
Yeah.
For Minju's sake, she believes that she has to kind of sideline how Minju is feeling right now. Yeah, like in 60 years you'll be taken care of.
She's not saying the forest for the trees kind of thing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
She straight up talks around or over her daughter's feelings because ultimately she doesn't want to actually hear her feelings. Listening to her means potentially hearing about anything less than positive, and that could mean that her hopes and dreams for her daughter are dashed or in danger. So this isn't about her feeling a certain way, like, for her own stuff, because, like, her in-laws are rich people, and they didn't give her anything to support her business. They don't encourage her. And, like, it's very much assumed, especially in a lot of Eastern cultures, that when your children get married, you are family with each other. And so
you help each other out.
And so, yeah, like, so the in-laws, even if they hate each other, are expected to, like, do things for each other, right? And so Minju's mom's in-laws don't do anything for her. And they could,
they could help her small business.
Yeah, oh yeah, they have more than enough money to, like, help her small business or help her expand or help do something, but they don't. So you can definitely see where Minju's mom is coming from, but she's fallen into a trap that a lot of struggling parents have. You stop looking at your kid like they're a person and just see them as a vehicle for your own ideals, hopes, and unrealized dreams. Think a dance mom who never got to be the prima ballerina, forcing their kid to do better than they did. Except it's slightly less toxic and more trauma-based.
Yeah, I was about to say, it sounds like this woman has, like, traumatic fleas. Because, like, she's a single mom, so she had to do it alone. It's a lot of constant running and work. Being a single mom is very hard. Being a single parent is very hard.
And she just doesn't want her daughter to be dealing with the life that she had. That's her main motivation
for
everything.
And so she's just, like... She's still stuck in the I have to go, that she's not looking at what...
She just doesn't want Minju to slave away like she did. And, like, you can see the love that she has for Minju, too, because her restaurant's actually named after her daughter as well. So she has that love. She has all that there. So due to this, she regularly puts the feelings of her son-in-law over her daughters to kind of help keep...
Because she thinks the son-in-law is going to give her daughter everything that she could ever want.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's a real thing to happen.
Yeah. So you'll feel bad for Minju's mom and see her as a kind of tragic accidental antagonist until you don't.
Oh, and then mom takes a turn?
There's something that her mom does that puts you in a way where it's like, you almost had me and now I don't like you anymore.
Dang. Yeah, it's like, it's finally the villain takes that last step to where you're like, now I can't feel sympathy for you anymore.
Pretty much, yeah. So through all of this... We know all the players at this point. We have all the mistresses and toxic lesbians and bad parents and stuff like that tied up. But does Minju ever find out that her husband's cheating on her?
Ah, yes. Yeah. I want to know this answer.
Yes, she does find out. She finds out twice, actually. Once when Hena anonymously shoves a packet of incriminating photos into her mailbox, and again when she discovers video evidence in her own damn camera.
Her own camera?
Yeah, because she uses her camera to blog with. And so she finds evidence of her husband cheating on her own camera.
Was she, like, editing her show and then saw her husband making out with someone?
It's something like that.
Oh, my God. Because, like, Okay,
It's
not to
juicy.
be that. Not yeah. That's juicy. That's like holy shit.
It's juicy.
Yeah, that's TV level drama shit.
Yeah. That's also very relevant to some other things I want to talk about too. So
TV level drama.
Yeah, it's actually relevant. Yeah. So when she finds out, she's upset. She's angry. She's bawling. But more than anything, she's pissed at herself for no longer having the moral high ground because they both cheated at this point. Yeah. And that's the prime example of the personal conflict she's up against. She's always done the right thing her entire life. She's been the good girl, the good daughter, the good wife. And when she finally steps out of line, even with the knowledge of her husband's affair, even with the knowledge that he is ultimately mistreating her, mistreating other people, devaluing women, she still feels wrong. Yeah. It's like she's being punished, and it takes her a while to realize that the punishment is actually the life that she's been living up until
And that's why I tell people, don't go through with the cheating. Because it's just like, I've heard stories of this where people did because they're like, well, he cheated on me first. No one ever feels good about it. They feel good for a split moment, and then it becomes a regret because it's like, I sunk to their level.
Yeah.
And there's some people who can sink to that level and it not bother them, and good for you. Like, if your answer is to hurt them, but in my experience with talking with people, they always feel bad for going through with it. Because you don't need to lower yourself to, like, shit on a man. Literally, take a hot dump on his chest, put your heel to his throat, and say, you cheated on me and I know, and then leave.
Yeah.
Like,
a person.
Demean him. That'll be enough.
Well, and especially means you get... At this point, she doesn't even know that she got manipulated into having an affair, too.
Yeah.
Because she would have never considered it. Yeah.
Right. And so, like, Gia, watch your back. Mean Jew might, I don't know, drown you in a tub or something. Because, like, I'd be, like, it's one thing to have an affair. But if you were tricked into having an affair, I'd be pissed off. Like, are they the endgame couple?
Yeah.
I'm a little surprised. Minju deserves a little better, honestly. Sorry. And also, Gia's, like, 22.
What you're saying does, of course, weigh really heavily on Mean Jew. Like, there's no way it's not going to, because especially because Mean Jew is incredibly sincere. Even in the throes of cheating on her husband, she still wears her heart on her sleeve. Like, she's angry at her husband, sure, and does justify straying by blaming their lack of intimacy, but she's not wrong that she deserves better. And honestly, he was cheating first, right?
Yeah, he was, but...
So when she's making excuses, it's like, but he really is cheating like that. You're not trying to cope. You're not huffing copium. He really is being terrible to you.
She got pushed to your... Like, do we know how long they've been married at this point?
Sometimes it says, like, the relationship's, like, 1 year. Other times it says it's 3, but I think it's 3.
Okay.
So I think they've been married for a while, and it's been shit since the beginning.
Yeah. So, like, imagine, like, they had a great time dating, and then as soon as you're married, it turns completely off. I can't imagine the headspace she's in.
Oh, yeah.
Again, I'm not really blaming her for cheating. I just wish she hadn't. Because, again, now she's having this spiral of the moral high ground. And it sucks.
Yeah.
She shouldn't have to feel this way. But no wonder she cheated. She's getting isolated. She has no friends. She is just getting driven in a corner.
Yeah.
And it sucks.
Her sincerity is captivating and makes her a dangerous older woman. Because there's nothing more that young lesbians love than a capable, self-made, experienced, completely free of cringe older woman. And Mean Jew checks all of those boxes. Despite how her life has tried to suppress her, her true personality consistently shines through. You know who she is. Yeah. You know she's not lying to you.
Like,
she is
honestly,
that person.
you get a hint that she's charismatic because she runs a blog. You have to have some sort of charisma to do that.
Well, and then she was a teacher before.
Yeah.
So, like, she knows how to people very, very well.
Yeah.
She was a good teacher before, specifically. When Mean Jew and Gia do have sex, it's hot, sure, yeah, whatever, but it's also a good indicator of Mean Jew's abilities and withheld desires. She's been proactive in her own life, but only along a very, very narrow path. The kind that's reserved for girl children of hardworking single moms. So the first time they have sex especially, she takes control the moment she's given the opportunity and goes to town on Gia. Something neither of them really expected, but it's exactly what people should expect from a highly capable woman like Mean Jew. So, and all of their sexual experiences are like that too, where she is an active participant. She's coming up with different things. She's like, let's try a different position, because this sex is not just an opportunity to have somebody be into her and like have some intimacy, it's also, oh, I'm allowed to do whatever I want right now. Mm-hmm. I can just go crazy. And so she does.
Yeah, because she's had a 3 dump man.
Yeah. But ultimately, Minju has just had enough. She's been close to her breaking point for a long time, but marrying some rich douchebag was the straw that broke the camel's back. She's never really lived for herself, and the brief moment she did as a teacher was still plagued with behaving a certain way. So she's never really had a wild phase, never had a chance to explore, and she's goddamn angry about it. Which should make you nervous for how the rest of the story goes, because you know this isn't going to work out right. With all the different like players and stuff like that, you know Jia's plan isn't going to go perfect. You know there's going to be something that happens. Jung-woo is an entitled man. He's going to do something weird that you don't expect, because it's hard to navigate somebody that's not entitled.
Yeah, look, based on the characters, I bet my money on Minju, and I don't know her that well, but the other one, the sister's best friend.
Baek Sung-yi.
Yeah, I bet my money on them, because they're the only ones who are actually talking practical sense or trying to handle their shit in some sort of practical way. Mm-hmm. Passion is good for like a relationship, for ambition, but revenge, you need to cool that passion. You need to be methodical. Like if you've seen any Sherlock series or like any detective series or any crime noir series, you got to cool it on the passion, or else it's not gonna work.
For sure. So Jia's revenge is straightforward and uncomplicated. The one person who she cherishes the most and has cared for her and guided her was wronged, and she wants to make it right. But Minju's revenge is not merely focused on her husband, but her in-laws, society, heteronormativity, and even her goddamn mom. She wants revenge for the life she's led up until this point, and she's going to fucking get it. So they are both on this path of, I have to make something right at some point.
And Gia's single-minded, but Mia's like, no, I see it all. I'm taking everyone down.
Yeah, she's...
That's the revenge you want.
Yes, this is why I'm saying, like, oh yeah, she's one of those special curly pigeons who's, got a knife and has been living on the streets for a while. She's not dumb. She's not incapable. She's not just out here being a housewife. She's much more than that. Mm-hmm. Gia, I think, is the perfect mix between a motivated strategist and a horny new adult. Mm-hmm. She's complicated considering her relationship with her sister, but also her largely absent parents. But she's proud of herself and very confident in her abilities, her looks, her charm, but she has little tolerance for others, especially when they're not honest with themselves. Which is kind of even leading why, like, Gia might not, like, Minju and Gia hanging out might not be the best situation. Is Minju is super honest, super charismatic, super sincere, and Gia hates people who are insincere. What could happen if Gia meets with somebody who's super sincere and is actually feeling her emotions? Seems like a bad situation for your fucking revenge.
I also feel like Gia's a big hypocrite if she hates insincere people and she's doing this shit. Mm-hmm. Like,
that is also addressed at some point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Respect you.
Mm-hmm. I will say Gia is incredibly capable and did put a lot of fucking work into her revenge plot, but she ultimately can't escape the pitfalls of inexperience and naivety. If she was 30 years old, she probably could fight God and win, but thankfully in this story she hasn't reached her full potential. And really, she should be given the opportunity to finish off being a kid. Mm-hmm. Childhood neglect does things to a person, even when you do have someone in your corner rooting for you and helping raise you.
Yeah, she lost her sister, who was her only, like... her sister was probably, like, that favorite toy, the thing that comforted her through the pain. And then her sister got deeply hurt and just couldn't be her sister anymore emotionally.
Yeah.
And that's so hard. She lost the thing that was helping her get through this. So I get why Gia's doing this. But it's just like, again, I'm just sitting here with my brain going, but then really work on that revenge.
It's also like, she for sure has a sister complex. But then Gia graduates from high school without her sister. So she's a teenager. She's in high school. She graduates without her sister. And that makes things worse. Because it's a huge monument to become a young adult, obviously, right? And the one person who cares about you becoming a young adult is now completely checked out of your life. So it
Yeah.
It really
no,
is like
she
being
had
stabbed.
one thing. She had one thing and she lost it. Yeah.
Yeah. But so that doubles down as to why, like, she's got a sister complex. She was never not going to have a sister complex. There's nothing she can do about it. And it just keeps growing and growing as the comic continues or as her life continues. Gia tries to play, like, a hardened revenge seeker so badly, but she crumbles to Minju so often.
Because Minju's an honest person and she's weak to that.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. I love that her dialogue clearly changes as she discovers more about her whole situation, everyone else's situations. She definitely rode the fuckboy to Tinder pipeline extremely quickly. Because as much as you're like, oh, she sucks, why is she doing this? It falls apart so fast. Yeah. It falls apart very, very quickly. So she doesn't even really get a long time to, I think, get her revenge stuff together. Because it's hard to be mad at Minju when her husband's right there. And he's so much worse.
I also find it silly. Like, I also find it stupid that you're like, oh, I hate the wife because they got married. Is that really it?
There's another reason. Because you do think, like, well, why are you pissed at Minju? Because the author's really good about having you be in it in real time and then start asking questions. Like, well, why are you doing this? Why are you doing that?
So this is a little bit of a mystery as well.
Yes, there's a little bit of mystery to it. Because when you finally figure out why Jia's so pissed at Minju, you're like, oh my god, what else was she supposed to do? No wonder she thinks it. Like, you suddenly realize, okay, I get why.
You get why Gia was mad. Yeah. But did Minju do that thing that Gia thinks she did?
That's a good question.
Are you not going to tell me? Oh, you are a cunt. Continue so that you can... Continue. So we can end this episode and you tell me everything. I hope y'all are as frustrated as me.
I can read it. The relationships are capital M messy. Outside of the dual cheating going on, one of those relationships is motivated by fucking revenge, and the other one involves someone with severe lack of empathy for anyone. So 2 disasters are happening in slow motion. And then Heina is Gia's situationship. It's also dead on arrival. One person who spent most of their life being listless and insufferable is now obsessed with a rich kid with a sister complex, which is doomed for fuckery as well. So no one is truly thriving in any of these relationships. Everyone is one step away from disaster. And as you dig deeper into these relationships, the major players themselves are not nice. Gia is totally addicted to Heina on the regular, but keeps having sex with her. But Heina should have some self-respect and stop being addicted to everybody else. The mistress, Ho Yan, should maybe stop trying to, cheat with people, but at least she's bleeding Jongwoo of his money and makes it incredibly clear that she has no loyalties to him or anyone else. Just every relationship has problems, including the pseudo-siblings that are revealed about halfway through, and the friendship between Jia and Baek Sung-gi. Like maybe just don't, I don't know, just... There's really nothing here that becomes halfway decent. It's all wonky as shit. Well, by the time that you get to the end of it, is the healthiest everybody is, and you're actually really stoked for it, because finally, people got what they needed to start being full people again. But it takes most of the story to get there. Mm-hmm. And several things have to be revealed. The mystery has to be unraveled for it to really solidly get there. But all of these motherfuckers need Jesus. Every last one.
I don't know if Jesus can help here. They need Jesus later, but first they all need education. 1, don't get pump and dump man. 2, pump and dump man, learn how to fuck. 3, don't be an asshole. 4, if you're gonna do revenge, cool your jets, do it slow, think it through. 5, if a man hurts you, do not lock yourself away in a room. Get up, mourn, but get up and go do shit. Dear God, because if the sister just hadn't laid down and cried for 5 to 6 years, maybe none of this would have happened. And I'm not really blaming her. I'm just being. I will
also say again, if it was just the dumping, I think she would have reacted differently.
Oh, that's right, because there's something else that you're not telling me, so I don't know how mad or whatever it should be.
Yes, and
You realize this is making me judge everyone more. I'm not giving these people a fair assessment. I'm just judging them.
While you're reading this, you judge them this hard, too.
Fine.
It's part of the thing. I will also preface, what Jungwoo does to Se-ah, the older sister, what he does to her is not assault. It's still a bad situation, but he doesn't assault her sexually or otherwise or anything like that. He just does something that makes it very difficult for her to not be a hermit.
Yeah, that's good to know.
Yeah. There's nothing like that in here. We don't do that, at least. But really, no one in this comic fully keeps their shit together. There are so many twists and turns and unexpected revelations that make you feel like so much of this bullshit wasn't worth it. And truthfully, a lot of dumb shit could have been avoided if a handful of people had decided to act right. Like, there's 3 or 4 characters who, if they'd just done what they should have done at the beginning, none of this would be happening.
It's kind of like what I was just saying.
But for each of the characters, this tomfoolishness was needed. Minju needed an opportunity to make a change of her life and learn who she is. Jia needed a way to reconcile her feelings both for herself and her sister, and to let herself be a young person. Hei-na needed to just act right and needed a catalyst to push her to do that. Sei-ah needed a catalyst to return to herself, which we get because Jia start trying to act a fool.
Okay, so Sei-ah actually recovers from being a recluse.
She does start getting better, but she needed that push.
Okay, so yes. Something about this whole story pushes her to actually step out of her home again. Good.
And then Ho-yan also needed something, decency, kind of, and she does again.
The mistress?
Kind of. Yeah.
I kind of like the mistress. I know, but again, I'm more warm to a person who's like, oh no, this is about money. Because, I don't think any man or woman should put you on a string like this. If they love you, don't cheat.
I like the mistress also. I actually find her really charming. I think you hate her for a long time, and then you're like, okay, girl, go off. She's just doing whatever the fuck she wants, and you kind of respect that and start to enjoy it after a while.
Yeah.
She's very contentious within the people who've read this before, like within the, I guess, fandom for it, the reading group. But I like her a lot, actually. She is what she is. But point being, these fucked up events become necessary parts of their lives and put them all on a better path. Except for Jong-woo, the husband, he can get fucked.
I hope he loses his pee-pee. I don't know. Something.
If only. The women in this comic are hot, especially the older women. They're just hot as fuck. Goddamn. The artist knows exactly how to frame them to look as hot as possible at any given moment.
Nice.
And she regularly sets up panels where there's a lot of exposition or complicated discussion to show some hot body. Like, planning someone's downfall, here's a titty.
Ooh.
Discussing complicated situations of your past, we do a slow pan up somebody's body. Or she's leaning forward in a low-cut dress to explain something to you.
Again, this isn't doing it for me. Is there any thighs, any legs?
There's some thighs and legs, too.
All right.
I mean, she's showing off their bodies to the best of their ability. People are wearing borderline 90s, and it's like, but why? Why do they need to be wearing that in the scene?
In the 90s?
Just because.
Like, is the author a woman?
Yeah.
Okay. They a little bit don't sound like a woman to me, or they're just a very horny woman, because it feels very male gazy.
I do not know her deal because she writes primarily straight fiction. She has this as a long lesbian story, and then she has one other short lesbian story, and she's mentioned that she was gunning to write lesbians. Like, she was super stoked to write lesbians, and her other really long straight story that I believe is available in English is a woman doming 2 men.
Yeah, actually, let me ask: is the author the same as the artist? Okay, because I was gonna say if she has a different artist and she's just the writer, then the artist is being very male gazy. But I don't know. It's still just a little male gazy. Not that women can't also admire women, but again, like, when I'm seeing a flash of cleavage or boobs in my face, I'm honestly thinking a man is presenting this woman. Because, like, in a lot of great female romance, it's like, you're looking at the clavicle, you're looking at the wrist bone, you're looking at the lips. And so it just feels very much like, alright, I'm getting a lot of tits and ass, but am I looking at a woman because, wow, what a beautiful woman?
Yeah.
Or am I just using my horny eye right now?
I would be really fascinated to talk to her because she does have several other points where I'm like, oh yeah, you know what women like about women because certain people are dressed a certain way or hold themselves a certain way or whatever to where it's like, oh yeah, you know what women like. But then other times it is kind of like salacious or in a kind of male gazy kind of way. She's interesting. I would like to know exactly what she's thinking.
She could be just trying to appeal to all audiences, like putting in a little bit of this for the men, a little bit of this for the women, a little bit of this for just non-binary.
Yeah,
even,
or she's just a boobs lady.
Could be.
She could just be a boobs lady.
Could just be about the boobs. I'm again trying to make it deeper than it needs to be, but like.
But she does know how to present a woman in a way that's very appealing, and it's so goddamn necessary in this comic because this comic is very intense. The comic vibe it starts out kind of feeling awkward, and then it gets tense, and then it keeps that level up right until the end. This was all by design, as the author was inspired by Korean dramas.
Ah, okay.
And she really wanted to inject the feelings of a K-drama into a manhwa with lesbians.
I did say something about dramas earlier.
So she really likes the ones that go like almost soap opera-ish. So that's why things are so kind of all over the place, and you have all these players, and it's like this person meets the mistress, but then they're also have their own relationship. It's that complicated web that a lot of K-dramas and soap operas have.
Okay, this helps.
Yeah. But that's also why I'm letting people know, unlike how some K-dramas might end kind of weird or like upsetting, this one does end okay. And
yeah. I do feel like earlier 2000s K-dramas always ended where you're just like, I'm so fucking upset.
Yeah.
But now I feel like we're getting more K-dramas that end like, oh, great. They didn't die getting their revenge or something.
Yeah, nobody slow-mo gets shot by a bullet or anything like that either. Mm-hmm. There is one scene at the end that she lifted straight from a K-drama that she really liked, but it is so chef's kiss and perfect, and you're so happy to see it, but it's like right at the end.
That's cool.
The author really does a great job of getting the feeling of this being, a soap opera across. And the way she panels certain scenes really does feel like you're watching things play out on a screen rather than on a page. She really utilizes recaps, which are super common to manhwas and dramas, but she uses it to view an event from one person's point of view at the end of a chapter, and then from a different person's point of view at the start of the next chapter. It's a small thing, but manages to give a lot of insight to the character's feelings and motivation, but also gives the reader a sense of objectivity. So you're no longer just stuck in one character's mindset and seeing and feeling the emotions that they have, but you're also seeing as a third party of like, oh dog, if I saw this would be a fucked up situation. And kind of letting you know, oh, whatever's going on internally with these people, me as an outsider, dog, I'd be pissed about this, or I'd be on your side about this. Mm-hmm. And that, I think, is a really strong thing that she does by utilizing those recaps. Toxic lesbians and gray morality are the pillars that hold this story together. Despite me caping for a mean Jew, truly no one in the story is free of sin. And it's up to you, the reader, to decide who truly needs to be punished. It's Jungwoo. It's always Jungwoo. But seriously, this comic asks you who you're willing to forgive, who you're willing to root for despite their flaws or bad actions. It's a comic that turns villains into heroes in a chapter or less. And it's well worth the read if you're ready for a revenge-driven mess that pulls a happy ending. Best Served Cold can be found on Lezin. It contains cheating, violence, misogyny, dubious consent, non-consensual choking, more cheating, manipulation, mild domestic violence, gaslighting, so much lying, and toxic relationships. Mm-hmm. You can find Kim Jong-yeon on Twitter at something that I'm just going to spell because I can't even try to pronounce it. You can find her on Twitter at AGALSSAMUL. As always, do not yell at her. She's giving us a toxic woman we crave, and I do not care how angry you get during this story or how much you feel like you want to fight God. She is not that person. Do not fight her. Be chill.
A story is a story.
A story is a story. And it when you're done, I think you're really going to enjoy it. This is one of, honestly, my favorites, despite it not really being my cup of tea to start out with. But it hooked me in and then kept me held in place until I finished.
I mean, I'm fascinated. I really am. I'm tired and exhausted with people's poor decisions, but I still want to read it.
Yeah, and also because they want to kill Jong-woo. And it's so satisfying. It's like, please, the ending is so satisfying. Just do it. Just read it. Give yourself some time. The whole thing is complete, obviously, so you can just binge it in one go, and I would suggest you binge that very quickly, like either one go or within a week or whatever, but absolutely do it.
Real quick, I'm going to give this my whole rating. I'm intrigued, so I'm going to give this like 5 out of 10 holes. I'm not really sold on it.
I'll show you a couple. I'll show you a little bit.
Yeah, no, if you tell me more once we end this episode, I might give it a better rating. But as it stands right now, and with the information I have, I can only say 5 out of 10 hole.
We'll see. If you want more from us or need to contact us in some way, you can find us at Bluesky and Tumblr at whole-chat. If you are still on Twitter at all, you can find us at whole_chat. And remember, if you're listening on YouTube, we are also on Spotify. And Spotify listeners, you can catch us on YouTube and vice versa, all that sort of thing. That's all from us. Keep it tight.
Keep it tight.
Bye.